We're middle of March 2025, right? The world has changed drastically over the last 5 years.
Yep.
You work with early stage founders. What are they saying about this job market, the candidates that are available to them, and how does that differ from what they were saying 5 years ago?
It hasn't changed.
Really?
We only hire the top 1%. Fortunately, through my experience learning and working with hiring managers that want that, it's really articulating what does that mean to your business. And then once they start saying, oh, the school, this degree, that, this, that, and the other, I will be the first to tell them why, right? Like
Totally.
what makes that person more qualified than someone who codes at home for fun on the weekend and didn't go to college?
Exactly.
Right? It's the same conversation that we had years ago. I will continue to pound that into their brains because being able to identify someone on paper doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be great in person or doing the job. You have to talk to them. I tell that to even, some of our investors are like, come up with a calibration list. I'm like, okay, we can calibrate off of just what's on paper, but now with the use of AI, how do you know it's real?
Yeah.
Right? You still have to talk to them. A lot of the competencies that people ask for in, let's say, a finance role, like has to communicate well, yada, yada. How do you know that on paper? You don't.
You have to
You
talk to
have
them.
to talk to them. So it takes a lot of reps. It does take a lot of hours. Identifying on paper is one part of it, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be a good fit for the role.
Yeah. So the thing I'm noticing right now is with company construction. And I think in this last run up, when you ask a company, how are they doing? They'd be like, we're doing great. We have 500 employees. And headcount, in my opinion, has always been a vanity metric. But now we're starting to actually see like founders really lean into, well, we got to X million in ARR with 10 people. And I think actually David Saxecraft is probably like one of the people who should be lauded for bringing this to light because of the burn multiple conversation.
Right.
How are founders talking about that to you? And is that loud? It seems like a flex with founders being like, yeah, like we're building to massive amounts of revenue with fewer employees. Are you seeing the same thing?
In a sense, depending on the business, right, and how they've looked at it. But we have noticed it's no longer growth at all costs. That hasn't been the case for the last 2.5 years. That shifted quite a bit in the tech industry. And I would say that with the uptick in AI, like dev tools, right, we invested in several of them that are going to really expand the engineer's output too. I just think my husband's building product. He's a recruiter. And he's never coded a single line of code in his life.
Wow.
And he's using a combination of like Vercel and Cursor and ChatGPT, Claude. And he's building out recruiting tools on his own, just for his own business use case. And like, great, bring it to market. We could probably all utilize this. But the fact that someone with zero coding experience can go out and build products means that engineers should adopt to utilizing co-pilots or some sort of AI tool to 10x their output.
Yep.
And I think that you can say that about any use case of a role inside of a business is with the right tooling, you don't need as many people anymore.
Yeah.